Hello and welcome to Section 3, Building a RESTful API. In the previous section, we learned how to consume a RESTful API. In this section, we will build our own RESTful API to give clients access to our data. In particular, we will design the API specification and build it. We will perform acceptance tests and load tests to ensure that our API is working as expected. Finally, we will look at ways to maximize our server's utilization. Now we move on to the first video of this section that deals with designing the API specifications. Our goal for this video is to plan what an API should look like before we start coding. In this video, we are going to take a look at how to define the resources using the data we have. First, we will look at how the data is stored in the database. Then, we will choose the representation that we want the clients to use. Finally, we will define the REST resources that our API will support. Before we start building a RESTful API, we should know the database by heart. Whether we are building an API for an existing application or building one for a new application, the API will always sit on top of the data layer. Our goal should be to let the API abstract the complexity of the data layer. Our sample application uses two collections, a friends collection and a nodes collection. A friend document has an ID, the friend's Twitter ID, the user who has the person as a friend, the friend's name, location, and profile image URL. A node document has an ID, an owner ID, a friend ID, and content. Once we know our data, the next thing that we should think about is the API's representation of the data. To come up with a good representation, we should ask ourselves the question, what do we want our users to know? The sample application's requirements show us that our users should be able to get the nodes for a particular user, insert or delete individual nodes, and update the node. Our users should not be able to move nodes to another user account or move a node to another friend. Using these requirements, we come to the conclusion that our API does not need to expose the friends collection, since the data in that collection is exclusively Twitter data. Also, as per the requirements, we do not need the owner ID and friend ID from the nodes collection to be in the representation. The owner_ID doesn't need to be in the representation because it cannot be modified by the user. The friend ID doesn't need to be in the representation because our app does not let users move nodes to other friends. So, our representation is a simple object with an ID and content. After deciding the representation, we have only one more thing to worry about. What will the API's resources be? Since nodes are tied to friends, a good solution would be to let the nodes resource be part of a friend resource. So, we define a collection resource with a data URL /friends/friend_ID/nodes. We let the get method return the nodes for that friend and the post method insert a new node to that friend. We also want to be able to update or delete individual nodes. So we add an element resource for the nodes collection. We let the put method update the node and the delete method delete the node. In this video, we have learned how to design API specifications by knowing the data, choosing the representation, and defining the resources.